Have you ever thought of building your own home? Hi, I'm Lynn and I'm a Florida realtor. And for the past month, we have been going over the steps to building your own home. In the state of Florida, you're not required to have a contractor's license, although you are responsible in full detail of following the building and zoning codes and inspections. We are going to start with a recap, but before we get started, I just want to put it out there that if you are looking to build your own new home, or if you are choosing to go with a builder, I love to assist people with their new home purchases, whether it be a brand new home or residential, something already built. But even in the new home built with a builder, I love to represent buyers through that process because a lot of times buyers are left in the dark between the steps and they don't know what's going on. And also there's a lot of incentives going on right now that you don't want to miss out on. So it's really just best to have someone that is experienced and that knows, what is going on, what incentives are available, what special inspections that you might be able to have. You need to have someone by your side through the process, whether you're using a builder, because trust me, a lot of things fall through the cracks, and it will be at your loss. So definitely reach out if you want someone to walk with you in this. And all right, so today we are getting started. We're continuing actually, and we're going to do a recap of everything that we've gone through so far, just quickly. If you want more detail, just go back in the prior videos. You can watch them, and I've slowed it down a bit. But today we're going to zoom through this. First thing we did was we took a look at our finances. We need to calculate our net income so we know what we're working with. And I had also encouraged you to minimalize your expenses. So whatever you can pay off, get rid of anything extra that isn't a necessity while you're doing this, because this is a big task of building your house. So you want to apply as much as you can of time and funds. If you're doing this without a loan, especially, you want to be 100% devoted to this, and you need to make some commitments, not only to yourself but your family. Everyone needs to be in agreement so you don't have any issues later. So this is it's very important to sit down with your finances and to know what you have coming in every month. And I will also encourage you to plan something with your family at least once a month, to get out and have some kind of fun. And we're still trying to watch our spending, so there's a lot of things that you can do, a lot of things that are free, so you can have free fun. So look for those things while you're doing this, if you can, to save extra money. But all right, so the first thing was our finances. So now we know our net income and our expenses, so we know how much we have coming in, and that will be applied to our home. Something I mentioned in one of the other videos is that my husband and I, we had stopped our direct deposit with pay, just so we could help ourselves stay disciplined, and we wouldn't allow the funds to go in our bank account until we got ready for the next project. So, and then we just deposited all the checks at once, because usually they're good for like 6 months, these checks. So so that's just something we did. So you do you, and whatever it takes, right? So okay, so we're gonna have some free fun, you guys, when we're not working. But at least try something once a month, just to clear your head, to regroup and see where you are. Also, if you can, because your mind is going to be busy, so if you can auto Automate a lot of your expenses that you do have so that you don't have to worry about it and you don't miss paying something, and then have to pay extra fees, for late fees and stuff. Just automate where you can, and that will help you stay more focused. I heard something, remove the need for discipline is a quote I heard. So before you get started in this project, if you remove the need for discipline beforehand, you won't have to later, when it may become a problem. Okay, so just know that in your mind. This is what you're going to do. Okay, so that was our number one, was our finances. Number two, our preliminary house plans. Okay, so that's where we met with someone and we had them draw out basically it's almost like a sample, but they're drawing it out, whether you have concrete walls or wood, wooden, whichever. So you have your preliminary house plans, and then you approve those, and then you get your final blueprints. You're going to need to purchase your land if you haven't done that already. And with that purchase, you should have a survey. So use that survey and complete your site plan. You should have several copies, but you can use pencil and draw out your site plan. It's easier if you do it on a survey, or if you need to just do it on a piece of paper, that's fine as well, but you'll have to draw it all out. So to me, it was just easier on the survey. And your final blueprints, after you approve your preliminaries, and also your trust prints will have to be completed through the trust company, and everything will need to have the engineer stamp once completed. And also you will need to get your AC load calculations based on your blueprints, the square footage. So they will do that, and that also has to have an engineer stamp on it to be approved by the county. Okay, number three. So that is basically your prints and and your site plan. Okay, and your load calcs. So number three, your PERT test. You'll have to go to the health department and schedule your PERT test. That's for your septic tank. So they come out and do a soil sample. Number four, that's going to determine also, like, if you need a mound over your, above ground drain field and all of that. So anyway, county requires it. So number four, you will need, once you have all of that, you will need your building permit. And so go to Building and Zoning Department in your county, apply for your building permits, have those items with you because you will need those. You will also need to fill out a notice of commencement that just shows that you are building, and you have to do that every year. You will also need to get your septic permit. And back when we had started our home, there were no impact fees. I don't know of any county in the state of Florida now that doesn't have impact fees. So, but you need to check with them to find out how much those are. You may not need to pay those right now. I think I had stated last video that we actually waited to have our septic put in because we didn't want any of the trucks, the concrete trucks, or anyone falling, driving over and falling in. So we did not have to pay the impact fees right then either. Well, we didn't have impact fees, but they were going to begin. So anyway, so check with them and see when you have to pay those. And number five, we did our electric. We did a tent pole. The tent pole was, I believe, 60 watt, and we reached out to our electric company and paid our deposits to get that started. We went with underground utilities, so you need to decide if you're going to do that. We did have to pay for the extra distance that they would be running underground, and we had to have that trench dug for the electric company to do that. So check with them. We went in-house with our neighbor because we both agreed we wanted underground utilities down a private drive. It was a good distance, so that's what we did. Okay, so in case you're wondering, while we were doing this project, I documented all of our expenses. So to date for us, now this was back in '07, up to this point, we were in this $4,533.38. So it doesn't seem like much got accomplished. It's mainly just getting our permits and our blueprints and things like that done. But the electric costs us most of that, I believe. I don't have that paper in front of me. But all of these little things, they add up. And that was not including the price of the land. So, of course. But if you're going to be committed, just know that these things are going to cost you. And that was just getting started. So if you can do a lot of the work yourself, you're going to save a bundle in labor. This is where we saved a lot of money doing a lot of the labor ourselves. So on that note, that was just a recap of everything that we had covered so far. And the next thing that we did was we had our well drilled, and for us back then in '07, it was only $3,400. Now I do believe the going rate right now is around $6,000. But you can, check around, at least get 3 quotes is what I would suggest. And there's a couple questions that you need to consider, and I may have mentioned these prior, but who's going to be your carpenter? I told you before, your carpenter is one of your main subcontractors that you're going to use during your home building process. Who is going to be your mason? Who's doing your concrete work? These are things in your footer and your stem wall if you're going with concrete. So you will need to consider these 2 questions like right now. If you are moving along as we go, this is where you are. So those 2 people you need to know. Who's going to be your supplier? Where are you going to get your supplies? First, my husband worked at a company who provided all of our concrete block and our sand and things like that for our footer and our stem wall and our walls. So that was a blessing to have that. And just to let you know that no matter what company you use, you take your prints to them, and they will put together your footer and stem wall package. And in that, they calculate all of the items that you're going to need and how much of everything, and plus they will give you the price. So let them do that. That is their profession and their expertise. So definitely that's a free service. So don't, it's too mind-boggling to even think about calculating what all you're going to need to dig your footer and how many block and all of this. Just let them do that for you. So, okay. So are you guys ready for this? All right. Let's get started on that footer. And until next time, if you have any questions, just reach out to me, and I'm here. And we just flew through that pretty quick today. And I will let you know that next week I am actually going to look at some land. And for those who know me personally, know that after this project with my husband, my husband passed away about 5 years later. And then I sold our home. It was a little bigger than what I needed, and it was just me at the time. So too much to take care of, so I sold the property. And but now I am looking to redo this, and it's on my own this time. So here we go. You can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. So. And if you don't think you can do this, if you don't think you can be disciplined enough, there is several mortgage companies who would offer or love to offer you a construction perm loan. So you will have the funds available, and you can either hire a contractor to work with you, who will oversee your project, or you can still build your own home. Now, a lender is going to want a contractor in this, so just know that if you borrow money as a construction perm loan, they're going to want a contractor. So that doesn't mean you have to use the contractor for everything to build your home, but it does mean that this contractor, you can find one who would probably charge you $20,000 to $30,000 to oversee it and to go through and make sure before inspections that it is ready to be inspected. So just another idea, if you're rolling it around in your mind, if you can do this. But I believe you can. If I can, if we can, then you can do it. Just take your time. You have 6 months to get another inspection. If you have money coming in, if you have the funds available, you can do this. So reach out to me anytime. I am Laura Lynn Henderson on Facebook, on YouTube. I go by, Lynn Henderson, 813-446-0872.